This is the Business Experience Show, where we talk to entrepreneurs about the challenges and successes of starting, owning, or operating a business.
Welcome back to the Business Experience Show with Harold Dieps and Brian Gapps. I'm your host, Lisa Caprelli. Our next guest is doing his best to change the world for the better. We have him on the phone. Welcome performance coach, motivational speaker, and results strategist, Jairek Robbins. Welcome, Jairek.
Hey, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I tried getting you in studio. The best we get right now is on the air live with you, which is fine with us.
Yeah, I apologize. My travel schedule is pretty crazy over the last few months, and then also the next few months is crazy, too.
It's good. We're out meeting the world, changing lives. Tell us about your business background, Jairek.
Sure. My business background is I worked for 8 years for one of my dad's companies. I worked in the nonprofit for 3 years, and then I transferred over into sales. I did inside sales, outside sales for 2 years on the road, and then also did 6 years of coaching for them. And I took everything I had learned and all the experience and all the insights and all the strategy, and I took it and I decided to apply it on my own to see what I could do. So I transferred into my own business about 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago now. And what I did is I put up my own business online. I used a very simple website I made myself. I came up with a strategy through social media and advertising and online marketing, and I grew it from 0 to 6 figures in a little less than 8 months.
How did how did you do that? What was the strategy, or what was your message or focus?
Very simply, I was looking around and I said, what do I have of value and what am I passionate about that I would do every single day regardless if someone paid me or not? So the very first step was I figured out what I was passionate about. And I was passionate about personal development. I was passionate about, funny, silly videos that inspired me. I was passionate about pictures and quotes. And so what I started to do is on my own Facebook, not thinking of anybody else, every single day I would just post things that inspired me, post things that I love to pay attention to, go online and read stories that I was excited about reading, and I would just post them out there for other people as value, or just because I loved it. What I figured out was by sharing those things with other people via Facebook, Twitter, all these social media channels, it was adding value to their life. It was inspiring them to go do more. It was inspiring them to go get results. And so they started to tune in because the value was there. At some point, I had to figure out, well, how do I monetize that value is step 3, because I was doing something I loved. I was certainly adding value to people's lives, but as of that point, there was no monetization. There was just a growing audience.
And I'm going to interject here, and I see that with a lot of businesses. They have a hobby, but then they don't know how to do like what you're going into step 3 is how to monetize that. So keep on going.
Exactly. So to monetize it, I sat back and I looked at all the different strategies that were working. This day, right now, there's different strategies. Back then, it was one-on-one personal coaching, speaking, info products, all those types of things that I developed. Nowadays, there's a whole new world out there. I mean, there's ways to do that via web. There's ways to do that via teleseminar, live seminar, apps if you want to go into that space. If you want to go into mobile marketing, there's so many different strategies to monetize these days. We actually do a whole day of an event on it. But I came up with how to monetize it. And then the final part, what I think is the most important once I figured out those first 3 steps, was figuring out how to set up the entire thing, everything I did from the moment I wake up to the moment I went to bed, set it up in a manner in which it was fulfilling every step along the way. It was something that, again, regardless if I got paid for it or not, I would wake up and repeat the process day after day because of how much fun I was having and how exciting it was and how unique and the experience was to me every day, that I was like, wow, I can't believe this is my life.
Jairek, hi, this is Brian. For professionals in consulting industries, there is a fine line between talking about your business to a prospect and then switching over to where you're charging for your advice. And how do you find that line?
I was talking to a guy about this the other day. I was out having dinner. A gentleman named Benno sat down next to me. He used to own a bicycle company, and he sold it. He made enough, not billions, but enough money to live the life he wants and do whatever he wants. And what's interesting is he told me the same thing. He says, all my friends come to me because I've been successful and ask me, how'd you do it? What do I do? Where do I go? And he says, I give them all this advice, but I feel bad charging them. And I start laughing, and I said, where you draw that line is when you start to realize that the amount of time you're investing, sharing all that time, helping everybody else, is starting to take away from the time that you've allocated towards living the life you really want. And For friends, no problem, all day long. I jump on the phone, help them out. But when it starts to encroach on taking away your fulfillment, taking away you actually going and living the life you want, at that point start charging for it, because then it says, listen, I'm willing to trade you this hour of my life in return for this amount of value. That's fair to me. Otherwise, I'm going to take that out of my life and I'm going to go do what I want with it.
Right. That's a really good answer. A good question, Brian.
That's great. Talk to me about designing your ideal day.
Absolutely. That was that fourth piece I was talking about, where once you figure out what you're passionate about, you figure out how to add value through it, you figure out how to monetize it, you have to design your day and what I term your ideal day to make sure that you're living it in a totally passionately fulfilled way. So that from the moment you wake up in the morning to the moment you go to bed at night, it's literally the absolute most magical, perfect day you could ever imagine. And I put together a whole step-by-step system of how to do that for people that I always give them away as a free gift. Certainly we'll give it away here as well. But it basically walks you through, what would you do the moment your eyes open? Who would be there? How would you feel? Where would you go? What would be possible? Because so few people design it this way. Most people, they figure out, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to go get from life? And then what do I have to do to get that? And then the assumption is once I get there or achieve that or make that money or have that life or get that wife or travel to those places or have this amount of kids or have this kind of family, then I'll start doing what I really want to do. Versus the reverse. How do you design the life of your dreams so that every single day of you living the life you've always dreamed of by going through those daily actions? And yeah, you might have to fine-tune it from time to time, but by living that way, it would naturally take you to all the goals that you really want to achieve.
And do you do this for both on a personal level and for companies and for businesses, and they can apply your principles to...
100%. I've certainly helped tons of personal clients one-on-one, and I have clients ranging from my favorite who lives up in the, what's it called? Not Pasadena, but up in that direction. And he's 12 years old, and he's in school, and his parents hired me to come in because he's such an intellectual kid, and he's so smart, and he's advanced, and he's so far ahead of all of his friends that we're helping him set up a business just at 12, and he's designing this vision for his future, which seems silly, but this kid's bright. I'm excited when I talk to him because he gives me ideas I haven't thought of. And it goes all the way to, people working at big banks, Goldman Sachs, those types of people I work with on their life strategy and balance, to entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, all kinds of people around the world. And as far as corporations, I'm flying out to Thailand in a couple of weeks here to go speak to 5,000 representatives of a multinational company to help them, again, design their ideal vision. And they work in offices all day, and they work with tons of people around the world. But if they're not living their vision inside the office as well as outside the office, it's a little tough. And the hallucination is, when I say the ideal vision of your day, a lot of people who are working a 9-to-5 or a daily job think, Mai Tai, beach, Maui.
Sure.
And it's, go for it. But it gets old. If you've ever had the privilege of doing that, after about 3 days, you start tapping your foot, looking around for something to go do with your life.
Right, but a company is typically valued by external measures, by investors and others. And how do you get them to focus resources on internal goals that often have intangible payouts?
Here's what's fun. This day and age, it's changing. Because people are starting to get sparked by ideas like Zappos, where you see a young company start from, basically scratch with a little team of investors. They all jump on board. They put their heart and soul into it. And based on being a customer service company that happens to sell shoes online, they go from $0 to $1 billion in sales in less than 10 years. And all of a sudden, that gets big corporations' attention. They say, how did they do that? And when you go tour their facility and you talk to Tony Hsieh and all the people over there, you start to realize it was them focusing on their people. And because people sign up to work there, and I don't know if you know the story, but at the end of 6 weeks of training or however long it is, they'll say, hey, we paid you to come train here, we paid you to learn all this. If you're not absolutely thrilled and over the moon about taking this job, we'll pay you $2,000 to just leave right now.
Wow.
And what they found is it's worth a $2,000 investment plus all the money they've paid them already hourly to go through the training to not have them on the team instead of hiring the wrong employee. But here's what's interesting. It's unbelievably difficult to try to get a job there because no one ever leaves. They love it because of the internal environment they've created to help grow those people in ways that's amazing.
Well, so I guess you might answer this already. Is social media keeping us connected, or is it putting distance between us?
That's a fascinating concept. It's doing both. it's keeping us connected to the extent that I have friends and family and people all over the world that I regularly communicate through that platform, which is a beautiful thing because I can catch up with them. I can see what they're doing in their life. I can see what's important to them. It's a beautiful way to connect. And if that's the only way you're connecting, you're not walking outside of your home. You're not walking outside of yourself and saying hi to your neighbors. You're not communicating with people in your neighborhood. You're not, creating social groups that you go have dinner with or do physical communication and connection as well. You're going to be lacking. I couldn't tell you how many people I've talked to and coached over the years where they live in cities with millions of people and they feel completely alone every day.
Wow. Give us a story on how you helped a business grow that stands out to you. I know you've helped many, Jairek.
Sure, tons. And depending on your listeners, it depends on what industry and what types of businesses they're in. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've taken solo entrepreneurs who came out of a typical sales position where he owns a part of a Brooks Brothers, and in 6 months we got him from praying to making $1,500 a month. He went into a direct sales business, and we got him making $15,000 a week in less than 6 months.
Wow.
And with him, it came down to, and it's all the tools I talked about. It was him designing his ideal day, coming up with a strategy, literally breaking down his ultimate vision of ultimate goal of what he wanted to achieve, breaking it down into daily simple tasks, taking those actions, and bingo, got the results. As far as other types of organizations, I've helped people, their inside teams, where I've sat down with the leadership team and the executive team. We've put together a whole plan, and we've helped launch companies where it went from scratch as their very first startup all the way to, with me helping and all the rest of the team members helping, pitching ideas and putting it all together and following up and training the people. We got it up to, I think, 30,000 representatives around the world, and it was in the direct sales. Again, it was awesome. On the corporate side, it's more that they've brought me in the past where I'm there to help their people find life-work balance. I was just hired recently to coach an executive from an international company that's based out of North Carolina, and it's they're more in the tech industry. So me coaching him isn't going to cause the company to massively grow or massively fall. But what it does do is it causes him to be incredibly more effective. And the more effective he is, the better he runs his team. The better he runs his team, the better the overall results.
And a lot of that starts with the gap, identifying the gap that you talk about.
Completely. And again, with him, it's really simply looking at his whole life, figuring out where he currently is, figuring out where he really wants to be, and looking at it in terms of, if you were to improve each of these areas of your life, how would it affect your business? If you got healthier, how would it affect your business? If you got, if your relationships were in order, how would that affect your business? If your financial situation was in order, how would that affect your business? And you know as well as I do, anyone listening on this call, if you're in business, if your relationship at home tends to fall apart, I guarantee you're not going to have a good day at the office.
Right.
It just happens. So that's what they bring me in for, is to help those people balance their relationships, balance out their health, make sure that they're achieving and making progress in each area, which is the key to people's fulfillment, that they're constantly making progress, they're constantly fulfilled, and in return, they get much, much better performance out of them at the office.
I heard you have a motto of having different streams of income that you emulated from some attorneys and we have just a couple minutes and then we have to go to break, but start talking about that because that was really fascinating to me, Jairek.
Sure. I learned this just because I ran into a law office in Southern California here, and what was fascinating was the fact that they had 3 different sets of law. We're probably going to run out of time, but they had one person there who was focused on the type of law that when the economy is booming, it's growing. His office boomed. They had another guy who was focused on everyday law, general things, general practice of what everyone would need, and they had another person who was focused on things that if the economy were to fall, his office was booming, to ensure that no matter where the economy went, their office was always pulling in consistent income.
That's awesome. And this is a law office of how many attorneys that have this philosophy?
At the time, I believe they had 3 attorneys. I think now they're up to 5.
And correlate that to your life with how you emulated that.
So here's what I did. I figured out in my business how many different layers would I need in my business to be able to consistently have income flowing to me no matter what was going on in any one section of my business.
Okay, Jairek, we're going to take a quick break, but we're coming back with you. Hold on one second. We have to take a quick break. For more information about Jairek Robbins, you can go to thebusinessexperienceshow.com, click on Jairek Robbins. You can also go to JairekRobbins.com. We're here to help businesses with marketing, strategy, and business experience. You're listening to the Business Experience Show on Sports Radio AM 830 KLAA.
Is your business having a difficult time in today's market? If you offer a great product or service but are struggling with tapping into a solid customer base, perhaps we can help. Or maybe you would just like to cut your losses and walk away. The marketing professionals from the Business Experience Show are considering turnaround opportunities with select businesses. If you feel that you can benefit, please contact us through thebusinessexperienceshow.com or call 949-415-8237. That's 949-415-8237.
Welcome back to The Business Experience Show, where you can learn from others' experiences and successes in business.
Welcome back to the Business Experience Show. I'm Lisa Caprelli with Harold Dieps and Brian Gaps. We're talking with Jairek Robbins.
Jairek, what are some of the positive habits that American companies can adopt from the international companies?
There's a handful. The first one is the hunger. People don't realize this day and age, when we first started in America as a country, people were hungry. They were hungry to prove to the world that they could make it. They were hungry to show people that they were willing to put in the extra hour. They were willing to step up and deliver. They were willing to go the extra mile, because that's what it took to succeed back then. And if you've ever talked to anyone who's ever migrated or immigrated here to the U.S. and started with very little, they'll tell you they put their heart and soul into what they were passionate about to make it work. And the most successful ones, they continue to do it with everything they had to make that work. Other countries have that hunger right now, and I'm kind of sorry to say that a lot of companies in the U.S. are losing that.
Wow.
We've designed a society that's so comfortable that people, count down the hours until 5 o'clock so they can get the heck out of there, versus being willing to fall in love with what they do and just go at it 24/7 because they love it and they're doing it in a way that's really fulfilling.
Jairek, in a politically correct world that we live in, how difficult is it to get people to be completely honest, especially in business where there can be financial consequences?
That's a topic that's fascinating. For people to be honest, that comes down to their personal integrity. And to get everyone to be honest and to tell the truth, it depends on what topic you're talking about. If you're talking about business in general, it really comes down to playing smart and picking people who you build a relationship with over the years. This day and age, when we were talking about social media and online and websites, it's taking a worldwide economy and making it back into a small town feel, where if you cheat, if you lie, if you stab people in the back and don't do clear and consistent business, people will know immediately. All they have to do is Google your name.
Jairek, what do most people not know about you?
Probably that I'm a silly, goofy guy that just loves to have fun. I mean, so many times for branding-wise, there's pictures of me wearing a suit and, looking all professional in the news. And if you come hang out with me today, I'm probably one of the most laid-back, silly people you ever hang out with. But that's part of who I am. That's what makes me fun, and that's what makes me feel alive every day, is just being me, instead of trying to think I have to be a certain way everywhere.
I appreciate your honesty. How do you most want to help others?
I'd love people to figure out a simple concept that when they're able to take their dreams and their goals and their vision and they're able to go achieve them, my favorite thing in the world is when that happens, they generally tend to start to pay it forward. They figure out, wow, I thought when I got there that would be this big thing, but the most exciting part about it is actually not getting the goal. It's turning around and showing other people how to get theirs too.
Jairek, most people have had the benefit of one or two great mentors on their way up, especially in business, but people often confuse a mentor with a coach. Please explain the difference.
Absolutely. A mentor is someone who's walked the road ahead of you. They've very clearly produced the results multiple times. They're able to show you step by step what they've done and how they've done it. A coach, very different. A coach is someone where Phil Jackson cannot play basketball as well as Kobe Bryant at this moment in history. But he can get Kobe Bryant to play better than he's ever played before by using an outside perspective to show him things that he's seeing he's doing that Kobe can't see himself because he's in the game, or any player or any business. Where I don't have to be a master at what you do. What I do have to be is accountable, and I have to fine-tune everything you're doing by consistently bringing up the blind spots you're not able to see yourself and really holding you to the fire to deliver what it is that you say you're going to.
Jairek, one last question. What do you want to be known as?
Just a fun guy. I mean, when I introduce myself on stage, it's really silly because we have this big professional bio that says Congressional Award, Gold Medal, and all the things I've accomplished and the places I've gone and all the fun things I do. And I'm like, you know what? Just tell them I'm a cool guy, and I'll take it from here. Because my thing is your biography has nothing to show what it is that you deliver right now. I can tell people how great I've been in the past, but if I can't get them a result right now in their life, what does the past matter?
And how can we find more information about you, Jairek, for our audience, the Business Experience Show?
It's simple. I created a platform. It's really simple. Go to JarekRobbins.com, or the other place is go to designmyidealday.com, and it'll have a free gift for you.
Thanks for being with us today, Jairek.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Business Experience Show. Have a profitable week. We'll see you next week. You're listening to the businessexperienceshow.com on Sports AM 830 KLAA. I'm Lisa Caprelli with Brian Gaps. Thanks to Harold Diep. Have a good weekend, everyone. See you next week. Remember, go to the businessexperienceshow.com. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter. We'll connect with you back. Thank you, Jairek Robbins, for being with us, and GE Capital earlier today. Thank you.